I'm going to have to find one Christmas carol I was talking about before. We got We Three Kings on. I'm not going to play the two Christmas... Do you even call them carols, or are they songs? I mentioned them before. They're more songs, or somewhat recent songs, too, and such. You're going to have a commercial. Anyway. I always liked I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas. That's, you know... And... Mama says that Hippo would eat me up, but then teacher says that Hippo is a vegetarian. Now that's songwriting. All right, you got Marky Billson here. And I want to also give on this Christmas Day some thanks. Health and Home Care. Jones and Church Farms, Unicoi County Insurance Agency, Unicoi Gas Utility District, Farm Bureau Insurance. A proud sponsor of 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities. Irwin Paint and Body Shop, who does not have any delusional ideas that they control the weather. They do, however, control the bodies of your car, and they do extraordinary work. Clinchfield Federal Credit Union Computer Guy, Relay of Life of Unicoi County, Dr. Jason Cunningham. Irwin Utilities, Irwin Bonding, Unicoi County Memorial Hospital, Urgent Care of Irwin, Irwin Pets, and Kentucky Fried Chicken in Irwin. Tell you the truth, that would be, I know they're not open today, but, you know, you talk about the Christmas dinner. Having ham. My family used to get it mixed up until I finally put a stop with it. My grandmother would always make ham on Thanksgiving, turkey on Christmas. Finally, I said, can we just do this in reverse order like everybody else in the world? But the ham on, but if you wanted to have fried chicken, you know, that bucket from KFC, that would be some good Christmas meal. I got to tell you that. Yeah. The one other thing on today that, and I've actually done this, has anybody gone to a Chinese restaurant on Christmas? Because they're the ones that are open usually. I've done that. Of course, I like Chinese food. Anyway, Tri-City Sports Now. Oh, we got tweets from John Feinstein before. I woke up this morning in Florida. Florida. Our women are the fairest. Our men are the squarest. Okay, I'm not going to sing the rest of the Florida University of alma mater, but there you go. For one thing, I don't know the rest of the words, and that's the second reason, you know, don't give a damn about the whole state of Alabama, and that borders Florida, and we're from Tennessee. Okay, we get all that. Here is the point that I am going to try to make here. I want this known. I have a very nice car. All right? In fact, the reason I was in Florida is that I was driving that car down so it could be stored for the winter. I have a 1973 Chevrolet Caprice Convertible. What did Chevy run on the NASCAR circuit in 73? We're going to have to find that out. They stopped doing convertibles. Daytona 500, first one, actually. Mentioned in the Sportscast. Yeah, that's when they kind of found out about drafting, was the very first Daytona 500 in 59. It wasn't about safety. It was about speed. You know, you just couldn't, on the super speedway, you couldn't compete with them. So, we're looking at that. I do not wish to sell the automobile. It's a memory of my beloved grandfather who built it, or not built it, but bought it right when it was new. We believe it to be one of the first 100 Caprice convertibles. And I'm very happy with it, thank you. Because it is going to be a 45-year-old car. It actually is a 45-year-old car now. Things tend to go wrong with it a lot, I will be honest with you there. It needs a few repairs. But I still do not wish to sell it for the outstanding. I like the car. And I'm mentioning this because this holiday season, I found out that what everyone wants is my 1973 Chevrolet Caprice Convertible. Used to be my grandfather's, now it's mine. Passed away, but I remember. And what I'm talking about is, in driving this car from Tennessee to Florida this weekend, Folks, I do not wish to. I just want it known out there. I'm using the airwaves here, 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities, to go on a rant and say, I'm very happy with my automobile. I like driving with the top down during the summertime. I enjoy, you would not believe the people who want to, they're always out there. Oh, it's a really nice car. Will you sell it to me? This is like, this is so frightening. Imagine I invite people over to the house. Boy, that's a nice TV. Will you sell it to me? That's a nice family heirloom. Will you sell it to me? Stop. Please. It has got to the point where I will buy gasoline for this car, and people are now trying to box me in on the gas pumps. They did this twice while I was filling up. And it is, remember, a 1973 Chevrolet Caprice Classic Convertible, so remember, it is a little thirsty. And you wouldn't believe, they literally at the gas station try to box me in. I'll give you $15,000 for it. Well, first of all, I'll see that when I believe it. Second of all, I'd rather have the car than the money. Third of all, it's my grandfather's. But that's not all. It's the people who actually follow you on the street for miles on end. Ask, would you like to buy? Do you see a for sale sign on the car? Now, even more than this, and I'm not making any of this stuff up, people who literally run out of buildings. You don't want this car, okay? Because you have to put up with this stuff. And I'm serious. I have been driving down the street and people literally run out of buildings screaming, sell that! No. I want the... Why am I not entitled to nice things? Why am I not entitled to family heirlooms? And they will not understand. No, the car's been in the family 45 years, it's right down. Stop it. I'm putting the word out, okay? And again, you don't want this car. You don't want to have people. And it's not just admiration. It's, will you sell that to me? You have a nice car. Will you sell it to me? This is why I'm hiding the automobile. And it is very nice. Yes. Anyhow, Tri-City Sports. Now, the other thing about a 1973 car, that was the year that you actually sat down on the seat and the buzzer for the seat belt went on and on and on and on and on until you actually put on your seat belt. Couldn't get away with it. You have to put on your seat belt in the car, which is fine. I always do. But I'm just saying. So please, I want to keep my car. Thank you. I wanted to make that known on Christmas Day. Also, wanting to do something, you know what else? Jason Witten wants to continue to play football for the Dallas Cowboys.
Every week I have an opportunity to break this team down, and I see too much positive. I really do. I feel too good to think that that would end. So my intention is to keep playing. But right now there's just a lot of emotion with it.
You might imagine so. Cowboys in a game you will hear on 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities. This Sunday, we'll play the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles trying for the #1 seed in competition with the Vikings out of the NFL. For the #1 seed out of the NFC, excuse me. And, so it's a must-win. I don't know if I'd say must-win. But for the #1 seed, Eagles, of course, play the 49ers. Wrong Bay Area team. Raiders tonight. 8 o'clock kickoff. That game doesn't mean that much in the playoffs. Raiders are out. They'd like to go 8-8, but, it's that. Eagles, if they win, still haven't necessarily clinched the #1 seed. They've clinched the division, but they haven't clinched the #1 seed. the game has no conference barrier. No, obviously, it's not two conference teams. Eagles are 10-1 in the conference. The Vikings, who are right behind them, they have 2 losses in the conference. If the Eagles and Vikings were to finish with the same record, and of course you also have the Rams out there, but let's just say, for the sake of argument, Eagles win this game against the Raiders, and then they lose to the Cowboys. Doesn't seem likely. It's in Philly, all this. But they lose to the Cowboys. Then what? Then, if the Vikings win their finale, it actually comes down to strength of victory, which means who beat the teams that have the best record. In other words, what is the record of the teams that you beat during the year? I would think this might just favor the Vikings. I haven't added it all up, but by virtue of the fact that the NFC East is kind of down. I mean, you'd have a Cowboys team that's 9-7 in there, but you also have the Giants, who figure to be going 2-14. You have 2 victories against them. You have the Redskins, who figure to have a losing record. There's nobody that bad in the black and blue division. And the Bears are 5-10, probably on the way to 5-11. That's not that all that, that's bad. But what else you got? You got the Lions, who are in playoff contention before the Bengals, who was everybody's darling pick yesterday, and pulled it off. You got the Lions. They're going to have a respectable record, at least 500. Packers, maybe not, but there's nobody going 2-14. Just saying. Anyway, so there is some time that Jason Witten, he wants to come back. He's got a contract that extends until 2020. He was emotional. The Cowboys not in the playoffs. They'll be playing for a winning record and little bragging rights against the Eagles, trying to make them spoiler and end their number 1 seed. But here, Witten was emotional after the loss yesterday to the Seattle Seahawks, a game in which the Seahawks had more penalty yards than they did total yards gained.
I've been fortunate. I've lived the dream here for the last 15 years with this organization. Great ownership, great coaches, and great opportunity. I'm disappointed that we couldn't get it done this year.
Now, this being said, it did speak a little of the sophomore jinx. You might think Jason Garrett, Jerry Jones, let's face it. This guy fired Jimmy Johnson over a failed toast and wanting to be the focal point of the franchise. He did that, ensured the Cowboys would be, after the turnkey team that Barry Switzer won the Super Bowl with, mediocre afterwards, and they have been. 8-8 does seem to suit the Cowboys quite well over the last 20 years, and with Jerry Jones in control. Yet he's a Hall of Famer. I don't quite get it, but I guess it's the revenue that he's brought into the NFL, as well as taking it away from St. Louis and San Diego and other places like that. As if that's a good thing. Anyway, Jerry Jones has been known to go through coaches. Like I said, he got rid of Jimmy Johnson after 2 Super Bowls and an appearance in the NFC Championship game. He, look at Dave Campo, Switzer, none of these guys stuck around. Chan Gailey, Wade Phillips, Bill Parcells, even after a couple of years, said, I can't handle this. This isn't going to work out. Never coached again. Was in the Dolphins front office a little bit, but, So you might think Jason Witten also would be about ready to get a pink slip. Here's what Jerry Jones had to say about that.
I do understand frustration right after you lose a game that has as much meaningfulness as this ball game. But I get to look at a lot of different things and have been around a lot of head coaches and coordinators. And so I feel good about our head coach.
Jerry Jones, evidently Jason Garrett, a man went to Princeton. He does know how to keep his job. Let's just put it that way. I don't know. I don't remember any great coaching gaffes. There isn't he didn't go for two like Butch Jones or something like that I can recall from, Garrett. It just seems to be, you have Prescott, you had Elliott, and then you had Morris behind him, Des Bryant, and this is what you're doing. It's kind of the same thing I always thought with Tomlin. Tomlin being more of a cheerleader than Garrett. But, yeah, you've got all this talent around you, but you don't ultimately take home the big prize. Playing to the level of their opponent, well, there were 2 big victories against the Giants. They didn't have to kick a last-second field goal to beat the Giants like the Steelers had to against the Colts. We'll give you that. But even so, it appears that Jason Garrett is in no danger losing his position as head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Coaches who did more were. When we come back, I'm going to play the Christmas carol that, if you hear it, run, and I mean run, from the woman that is your true love, because, well, maybe a bit materialistic. I'm going to tell you the Knicks lead the Sixers 66-65 with 3:35 left in the third quarter. And I'm going to tell you about the bowl game that was played. Yes, there was actually a bowl game. Yet another bowl game played. Oh my goodness, a bowl game might actually look a little bit at the college football playoff as well when we return. It's Tri-City Sports Now, the Christmas edition, and it's coming back after this.
When children or adults with autism